What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Shinobi. I just wanted to put out this video real quickly. It's 2 a.m. in the morning, but I saw on Twitter Nadeshot retweeted or he tweeted a link to a photo of the rumored perk list for Call of Duty Ghosts and the descriptions for it. Now, if you guys saw the multiplayer reveal, you would have noticed that in Call of Duty Ghosts there's going to be 5 perk tiers, as opposed to every other Call of Duty where there's usually 3 perk tiers. You have the red perks, the green perks, and the blue perks. In the next COD there's going to be 5 tiers and they all have different names, so let's go over the list. Whether this is fact or not, we won't know, but from what I've seen it seems very believable. So let's go over the perk list. So the first tier that I'm going to go over is called Speed. These are your speed perks, and the first one is called Quick Draw, Faster AES. Nothing surprising here, you know, we've seen Quick Draw before. On to the next one, Sleight of Hand. The return of Sleight of Hand is no longer a attachment like it was in Black Ops 2. It's back to being a perk, so faster reloads. The next one is going to be Agility, faster movement speed. So I guess it's going to be your lightweight, as you can see from the icon. And the next one is Marathon, longer sprint duration. So I guess they're really not going to bring back the unlimited sprint that we had in the first Black Ops and in Modern Warfare 2. I guess that's long gone. So longer sprint duration. The next one is going to be Stalker, move faster while ADS. So you're going to be able to strafe left and right while aiming down your sights faster than usual. All of these perks we have seen before for the most part, and if you look at the image on the right of the screen where I've put the perks, you can see that there's a little number next to each perk. Quick Draw is 1, Sleight of Hand is 2, Agility is 2, Marathon is 2, and Stalker is 2. What this basically means is it will take this many points to use this perk, and I believe you get a certain number of points to use on your soldiers, so once you run out of points you can no longer use in more perks. So it's kind of like how in Black Ops 2 you get 10 points, but I think in Ghosts you have like 20 something points to use up on your character. So yeah, let's move on to the next perk list. Moving on to the next perk tier, which is known as Stealth. The first perk is known as Takedown. Enemies do not indicate where they have died to their teammates, and this is worth 1 point. And I'm not too sure what this means. The description isn't very good. I think what it really means is once you die, you know how like on multiplayer when you die on the enemy's team they can see where you died from a marker on the map. It shows like a skull, and this is very useful in game types like Search and Destroy. You can see where your teammates died because it shows the skull. I don't know why this would be a good thing to use. I'm not too sure, but it seems like it gets rid of that skull on the map that shows where you died. I don't know why that's a good thing, but moving on to the next perk, Blind Eye. You've seen this perk before. Undetected by AI kill streaks. So basically, kill streaks that you cannot control, they do not affect you, and this is worth 2 points. Moving on to the next perk, Off the Grid. Undetected by enemy SATCOM. And the SATCOM, I believe, is the new UAV, which you put down on the ground. And yeah, so basically this is kind of like Ghost or Cold Blooded. It's worth 2 points. And when I say Cold Blooded and Ghost, I mean Cold Blooded from Modern Warfare 2 and Ghost from like the first Black Ops. Moving on to the next perk, Dead Silence, Make No Noise. So this is kind of like your ninja perk, where your footsteps are silent, which is very good when you have a nice headset to go with it. Moving on to the next perk. Oh, by the way, Dead Silence is worth 2 points. Moving on to the next perk, which is known as Ghost. No red crosshair or name tag. So they're kind of switching up the names. Ghost used to be Cold Blooded in, was it Modern Warfare 3, I think, or was it Black Ops 2? So basically Ghost now means that you have no red crosshair or name tag. So this is very good for like when you're trolling or you're like playing those game types where you're trying to play dead. Yeah, basically the enemy cannot see you when they aim at you, if that makes any sense. Let's move on to the next perk tier. Moving on to the next perk tier, known as Awareness. The first perk is known as Recon, and we've seen this in Modern Warfare 3. Spot enemies through explosives and or hit markers, and this is worth 1 point. If you've played Modern Warfare 3, you know this perk already. It's the one that you'd spam in search and destroy with your flash grenades, and it would paint enemies on the map. And I'm not too happy about seeing this perk return, because it's kind of like having a blackbird in your pocket if you have flash grenades. Moving on to the next perk, Scavenger, good old Scavenger, worth 2 points and resupply ammo from fallen enemies. Next one is Sitrep. Enemies, equipment, and SATCOM are highlighted, and this is worth 2 points. We've seen this perk before. This is the one that you can see their equipment and stuff through walls, and it's highlighted in a bright red, so you can kind of just destroy it, or you know, not get killed by those pesky claymores. Moving on to the next perk, Awareness. Hear enemy footsteps louder, and this is worth 2 points. This is the one that kind of goes hand in hand with your Ninja or Dead Silence perk that I talked about earlier. Moving on to the next one, Wire Trap. Use enemy SATCOMs as your own. Also works with SATCOM stacking system, worth 2 points. And I'm not too sure how this works. Maybe this is kind of like Hacker from Black Ops, or maybe you just use the SATCOM as your own. I'm not too sure how this works. I kind of assume that it's kind of like Hacker, the Hacker perk from the first Black Ops, but we'll see when the game comes out. Moving on to the next perk tier, known as Elite. The first perk is known as Gamble. Have the option to reroll care packages, and this is worth 1 point. We've seen this before in the form of Hacker Pro, I think it's called, in Black Ops, the first one. And the next perk is Hardline, 1 less kill per point streak, worth 2 points. This is in pretty much every Call of Duty. The next perk is known as Ping. Detect enemies nearby enemies of enemies you killed. What the hell does that mean? That doesn't make sense. Detect enemies nearby enemies of enemies you killed. I'm kind of dumbfounded. I have no idea what that means. If you guys have any idea what that means, put it in the comments below. And it's worth 2 points. I think these perks, they're not the official descriptions, but they are somewhat related to what the perk actually does. Maybe someone has used these perks before and they compiled a perk list for us. So if these aren't the official listings for the perks when the game comes out, I'm guessing they'll be somewhat related to what this means. Moving on to the next perk, known as Overkill. Equip 2 primaries, and we've seen this before. It doesn't show how many points you need for it, and I think it's because it has that little padlock symbol next to the icon. No one knows how many points it's worth. So moving on to the next one, Deadeye. Increase the probability of increased damage the further into a point streak. I'm not too sure what this means either, and I think this is one of these perks you have to play the game to understand what it really means. And this is worth 5 points. The next perk tier is known as Equipment. The first one is known as Tech Plus 1. Extra Tactical Grenade, and this is worth 1 point. The next one is known as Lethal Plus 1, and this allows you to hold an extra lethal grenade, so maybe if you have a claymore you get an extra one, and this is worth 2 points. The next one is known as Bandolier. This lets you have extra mags, and this is worth 2 points. And you might be thinking, how is this different from Scavenger? I think what it is that you start the game with extra mags, but with Scavenger you have the same number of mags, but you get to pick up extra mags from fallen enemies. So with this one you get extra mags. You get to start with extra mags. Moving on to the next one, Attachment Plus 1. Fourth attachment, and it doesn't say how many points it's worth. You might be thinking maybe this is kind of like bling, and I'm guessing with the guns in Call of Duty Ghosts, I'm assuming that you're allowed to already put up to 3 attachments on your gun, and with this perk you are allowed to put a 4th one on. Moving on to the next perk, Danger Close. Increased explosive damage. Oh my gosh, don't tell me this is returning. This was a Modern Warfare 2 perk, and it caused chaos with one-man army, so I'm not sure if this is a good thing to put this back in the game, and this is worth 3 points. Oh man, I can already assume, like, if Scavenger lets you replenish your lethals, boy, this is gonna be a world of hurt. People are gonna be spamming C4s and getting more C4s from fallen enemies and stuff. Man, I hope Scavenger does not let you get extra lethals. Moving on to the next perk tier, The next perk tier is known as handling, and the first perk is known as strong arms. Throw equipment further, and it says in parentheses, there's more, but the description source was removed. And this clearly shows that, you know, these aren't the official descriptions, but whoever typed these things up knew what they were talking about. They probably played the game already, or they're just typing it from memory. So I do think that these descriptions are related to the official game for sure. I mean, they seem very legit. Anyway, this is worth 1 point. And moving on to the next one, on the go, reload while sprinting. So this is a very interesting perk. We've never seen this before. And you know how usually when you're reloading and an enemy runs in front of you, a lot of people, they're either YY or triangle to cancel their reload, or they'll sprint like me. I always sprint to cancel my reloads. But with this, you can reload while sprinting. So if I'm gonna use this perk personally, I'm gonna have to learn to triangle or YY instead of sprinting to reload cancel. So this is pretty cool if you're a rusher. This is definitely for you. You can sprint all you like and reload at the same time, and this is worth 2 points. Moving on to the next perk, fast hands. You've seen this before. Faster weapon swap, and this is worth 2 points. The next one is steady aim, and I can't believe it says unknown because we already know what steady aim does. Whoever wrote this should have known what steady aim does if they've played Call of Duty before. If you've never played any Call of Duty before Black Ops 2, basically it's the same thing as the laser sight, and this is worth 2 points. The next and final perk from the handling list is known as dexterity. Weapon ready faster after sprint. Mantling and sliding too, and it says in question mark. So we're not too sure. Basically this means the race time, you know, after you sprint, and the amount of time it takes for your gun to go back up and ready to shoot, that is much faster. And it also says in parentheses that mantling and sliding might be faster also, so we won't know until we play the game, or once, you know, players start playing the games at like Gamescom and stuff. So this is worth 2 points. Let's move on to the next, and I believe the final perk tier. So the next and final perk tier is known as resistance, and the first perk is known as lightweight, and it says take no falling damage, and it's worth 1 point. The next one is known as painkiller, and don't worry, it's not like the actual painkiller death streak from Modern Warfare 2. It's actually faster health regeneration, and I don't know, I guess that is a good thing, but it's kind of a newbie perk to use. I guess this is going to be the one that people are going to complain about the most. It's worth 2 points. The next one is known as toughness. We have seen this before. I think it was in Modern Warfare 3 if I am correct, or Black Ops 2, I get them all mixed up. Reduced flinch. So basically when you get shot, you know how your character kind of his gun goes up in the air as each bullet hits him. This is reduced, and is that a good thing? I don't know. I rarely use toughness, so it kind of is a good thing at long range. You want to keep that accuracy, but I find at shorter range it's kind of good to have that flinch, because what happens a lot of times when I play, if I'm shooting someone and they're shooting at me, because I'm shooting them, as they flinch, their gun goes up and headshots me, if that makes any sense. I know it's very hard to follow what I just said, but think about it. So I'm shooting someone and they're shooting me, and because they're flinching, because my bullets are hitting them, their bullets aren't hitting me where they're aiming at because he's flinching. Instead, they're going up and towards my face, and they end up head shooting me. So I don't know, is this a good thing, toughness? It's kind of debatable. If you're using like sniper rifles or maybe assault rifles, toughness is a good perk to have. So rant over. Moving on to the next perk, attack resist, and this is kind of like attack mask from Black Ops. Resistance to tactical grenades, and this is worth 2 points. And finally, you have your flak jacket equivalent. We have the blast shield, and this says increased resistance to lethal grenades. So it's kind of good. They do have the danger close perk, which is annoying, but then again they also have blast shield, which is kind of the thing that you'll use to if someone is using danger close, and this is worth 2 points. So that's the rumored perk list from Reddit. I will post a link in the description to the actual photo so you guys can go check it out yourself. I think it's a very interesting perk list, especially the descriptions. We've already seen all the icons from the multiplayer reveal, but to have a description that goes with it is very interesting. And most of them seem pretty legit. I mean, I could really see those descriptions being in the game. Obviously phrased a little better than what we saw in the photos, but most of them were very descriptive and we could pretty much tell what they meant. A lot of them were returning, and maybe like 2 of them were kind of very hard to understand. So I think someone really did make this photo, someone who was at the multiplayer reveal, and they made this photo and posted it on Reddit. That's what I believe anyway. Whether this photo or these perk lists are 100% legit, we won't know until we actually play the game ourselves, and for the most part most of us haven't played the game unless you entered the multiplayer reveal. So I'm gonna go on holiday. I'm gonna be away for 3 weeks. I'm going to Seattle. If you're there, hit me up on Twitter and maybe we can meet up. And when I get back, 2 weeks after I get back, I'm going to Eurogamer, where I get to play Call of Duty Ghosts. So until then, until I get back, I will see you guys later. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.